evening. At its core, the job of Commonwealth's attorney is about doing justice. So what defines justice? Any discussion about justice must start by acknowledging the victims of crime. Prosecutors exist because victims exist. But justice is also about the accused. They must be prosecuted in a fair and just manner. And that requires acknowledging everyone's inherent worth and wielding the powers of this office with fairness, dignity, and respect. Do the right thing is what I tell my lawyers every day. Tonight I want to talk to you about the public safety success story that is Arlington County. And it's not by accident. It's because of smart policing and smart prosecution on my watch. I've been engaged in reforms in the criminal justice system even before it had a name called criminal justice reform. I was simply doing what was right by this community. From instituting our drug court program, to partnering with our community-based leaders to combat domestic violence and sexual assault, to supporting the creation of our Second Chance program, I was simply doing what was right. You know, the Second Chance program has already diverted more than 500 of our youth who've avoided school suspension and prosecution. I've been building relationships my entire career that allow me to bring these types of initiatives to fruition. Just yesterday, in collaboration with the police department, with the Department of Human Services and Sheriff Arthur, we announced an innovative program called Operation Safe Station. This initiative gives individuals an opportunity to turn in their personal use drugs and completely avoid arrest and prosecution, so long as they agree to seek treatment. These programs are built on the belief that we are better off as a community by diverting folks and getting the help that they need. As Democrats, we have every reason to be proud of what we have accomplished here in Arlington. So let's talk about some Arlington-specific facts. Last year, in a countywide survey, 91% of our residents were satisfied with public safety here in Arlington. Our crime rate continues to go down, and it's at near historic lows. The population in the Arlington County Jail is the lowest it's been in more than 5 years. There's not been a single wrongful conviction that's occurred in Arlington County in more than 30 years. And there's no Arlington backlog of untested rape kits. My opponent engages us in conversations, but she doesn't want to focus on actual facts here in Arlington. Indeed, her entire campaign is founded on a false narrative that Arlington is anything but a success story. My opponent sees Arlington as a hotbed of racial discrimination and polarization. And to be clear, she's not just talking about my office. Her criticism extends to the police department, the sheriff's department, our probation officers, citizens who serve on our juries and our grand juries, the judges who preside over our cases, and the many civilian witnesses and victims who routinely testify in our courts. My opponent's campaign, in essence, is an indictment of our entire community based on a false narrative. Arlington is a progressive community that believes in second chances. We don't believe we can prosecute our way out of poverty, addiction, or mental health disorders. Arlington has some of the most educated, highly trained, diverse, and progressive police officers in the country. Tonight it's my hope that the debate will remain focused on Arlington-specific facts. So when you're listening tonight, are you hearing about Arlington, or are you hearing about elsewhere? Mass incarceration and the residue of tough on crime policies do exist elsewhere in this country, but that's elsewhere. The school-to-prison pipeline exists in places where institutions have broken down and failed their communities. That's elsewhere. It's not Arlington. Maintaining Arlington's position as a progressive beacon requires experience and competence. This is not an entry-level job on the ballot. I've tried murders, rapes, robberies, gang cases, virtually every kind of charge that comes before our courts. Justice is easy to talk about, but it's hard to put into practice. The work a prosecutor does has to be based on truth, fairness, and accuracy. As I always have, I will continue to advocate for the principled prosecution of criminal defendants, the vigorous protection of victims' rights. I have the experience, the competence, the humility, and the heart to do this job, and I ask for your vote June 11th.